There we go. Perfect. All right. Like I said, good morning. Thank you for those that joined us yesterday for our in-person brokerage meeting. We had a good time. A lot of good positive feedback. Definitely want to do more of those. It's nice getting everybody together in a room. Zoom or Google Meet is fine, but it's better in person if you can. So today we're talking about lead generation. It's kind of an overview of different things to think about to start your business, to add new clients, as Don and I were talking about earlier. There are a lot of different ways to do so, but I think that the biggest thing I want to stress is get a system in place. Maybe your own or get something else. I'm a big Buffini fan. Buffini talks about it's all about by referral only, building your database, following up with your database on a regular basis, doing pop buys and all kinds of stuff like that, where it really is about relationship building. HomeSmart's partner with Ninja. It's another system where you do daily activities. Avon's doing that. It really is about there's some mental and psychological aspects of it too, getting your mind right. But there are daily activities. Really is following up with your sphere of influence, people you know, you like, you trust, people you do business with, and people you meet, including new clients, your leads, if you will, as you add them to your database, and which is basically your lifeblood. Ideally, long term, I know some of you are brand new agents, some of you are returning to the business, some of you have been in business for a while. So they vary. But as soon as you can get together a database and start working it, the more likely you're going to have long term success. I say that as someone who's been doing this business a long time. And that's where a lot of agents can do really well generating leads and do pretty well for a while. But if they don't have a system in place to follow up, oftentimes those dry up and then they're out of business. So we want to make sure that generating leads is only a portion of it. And in my experience, Don may be different too, is you should be getting, when you are established and you've got a number of deals, transactions, clients under your belt, probably 70% of your business should come from your database. People that have worked with you, people that you know, sending referrals, and it's the lifeblood. You should be adding anywhere from 20 to 30% of new blood, new leads, that kind of stuff. So you're not trying to generate all of your business by generating leads. But today we're talking about generating leads. But the idea is I want to make sure you see you got to connect it to something to make sure that it has long-term success. Don, any comments on that?
No, I agree completely. And if you had asked me what percentage, I would have said exactly the same thing. That I got when I was at my peak production, it was, you would think of it as you had this coming in all the time. And the part that you wasn't really sure of is where the new business would be coming from, but it's like icing on the cake.
Got a question yesterday from one of our agents about consistency. And that's a struggle a lot of newer agents start off with. They work really hard to get some business. They work on it, they close it, and then they start over again. And they have these big valleys, right? So you have income, then you have no income, and income and no income. And that's pretty common for a lot of agents that started new. That's why systems are so important, because you can level off those valleys, peaks and valleys, and you can diversify too. Some of our agents do a ton of buyers, and you know how long those take, but they do like leases in between, or they've learned different ways to generate incoming, ongoing sort of new clients on a regular basis, in addition to their existing sphere. Because we know that people on habit, I know that the market and the low interest rates and COVID had an effect, but generally people are moving every 4 or 5 years on average. So if you have people in your database, they're going to be moving. They know people who are going to be moving. They're going to be selling. And so you want to be the first person they think of. Okay. So today, this is part of lead generation. So what is lead generation? Obviously, we're adding new people into our sphere, people that may want to work with us, so we can earn their business and sell them, or help them sell property, or help them buy a property, right? So today we're covering what is lead generation, identifying your target audience, because you got to figure out who you want to work with. That's one of the other early mistakes that a lot of agents make, is I'll work with anybody, anywhere, right? That's great, but you're hungry. Go for it. But at some point, you're going to have to find out that your time is limited, and the more niche or the more focused you can be on who you want to work with, the more success you're going to have long term. So leveraging online platforms. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunity out there, but we do have free social media. We have a lot of tools here at HomeSmart, which we'll talk about. Content marketing, network and referrals, offering valuable resources. And this is something that HomeSmart helps you with as well. And then, of course, analyzing and tracking results. The best thing about this and everything we do, no matter what you do as far as goal setting, if you don't actually go and inspect how well you're doing, oftentimes you're wasting money and time. That's why we do A/B testing with HomeSmart. We'll do an email of this type of thing and see what kind of response we get, and then we'll do another email to another group, a different response, and see which one works better. And advertising agencies do it all the time as well. You got to find what works. You got to measure it, and is it doing what you think it's going to do where you invest your dollars? So metrics are key. How many conversions, how many clicks. Same thing when we do a list of property. When we report back to a seller, we're saying, how many showings do we get? How many calls do we get? How many offers do we get? Those are all ways of measuring how well you're doing as far as marketing the property, pricing the property, and the condition of the property. What's the old adage, Don? You inspect what you expect.
Yeah.
Right. You have to keep your eyes on it and then adjust. So identifying your target audience, right? What's your ideal client? Who do you want to work with? We all have a certain, we're more comfortable with certain people. And I'm talking about race or anything like that. I'm talking about, age group, demographics, neighborhoods, things that you could be the expert on. There's certain areas where I know all the barbers, all the restaurants. I can tell people when they move here what's great about it, how the schools are and so forth. I may go somewhere else. I may not be the expert anymore, and that's fine. I can learn the area, but maybe my target audience should be where I know everything. I can be the local expert at the C. Demographics, obviously. How are the schools? What is the commuting time? What are the price ranges and so forth? What price range you want to be in? This is one that we get asked a lot too. It's not part of the lead generation, but a lot of times agents will be pretty good, pretty productive, and they're selling $200,000 homes or $300,000 homes. They're trying to sell $1 million home, and they may get one here and there, but they can't break into that higher category. And some of those, you just have to start getting the chance and doing more and changing your marketing, changing your image. But that's a switch, and that sometimes can be a little bit difficult. Psychographics, obviously, what does the market think? What are people thinking? How are you addressing that? So when we're identifying our ideal client, so what is yours? It's obviously, age group, income level, gender, marital status, family. Obviously, are you looking to big downsized homes for seniors? We have a lot of 55 plus communities in the area. You're looking for move up, you're looking for luxury. These are things that you should do because all of these tie into if you do any kind of marketing, right? If you're going to spend dollars, you can target everything. I have a friend of mine who owns an ad agency, and they can literally say, I want to target, 60-year-old men that live in Conroe, right? And they go, oh, their target audience is on HGTV, and they can put you on HGTV in Conroe only for really cheap, So it's amazing what they can do as far as demographics and targeting audience. That way, you're spending money targeting the people you want to talk to. So, all right. Obviously, psychographic interests, behaviors, preferences. This is one of those things where, okay, what's popular, right? Is soccer or pickleball or whatever. If you want to tie into it and target a group like that, target you want to work with, advertise to, you want to spend your time trying to draw out leads from these type of things. So oftentimes, if you're passionate about something, let's say you're into gardening, right? It may be really smart to get engaged around other people like gardening, right? Those are the type of things. Don, are you a big gardener?
Not anymore. Used to love it. Yeah.
All right. So obviously leveraging online, we have your own agent website, but you can do your own websites, but make sure it's optimized for both mobile and, obviously your desktop. There's so much now is done on your phone that you want to make sure it looks just as good on the phone. Social media marketing. We have a lot of agents to do really, really well with video and social media, but you don't have to be an expert to be consistent on social media. You got to be present, you got to be seen, and you got to have a brand. So the image you want to present to your public, to your clients, to potential leads needs to be consistent across your website, your social media, and everything you do. So all we're saying is have a plan in place, the sort of the audience you're trying to reach and the image you're trying to present, and then being consistent across these things so that your phone, it works on your phone, works on your computer, and even your paid advertising ties into that as well. And we have a lot of agents that ask about buying leads. We're not talking about buying leads today. What all of these lead platforms do is they do the same thing that we're talking about today on a larger scale, where they have search engines optimization, and they put out ads there to drive in traffic. They have a bigger net, and then they sell those leads to the agents for usually about a 40% referral fee. So it's a big dip, but and they're expensive. Like Zillow's expensive, Market Leader's expensive. Those are options at some point in time. I found those though, work your own stuff first, generate leads and generate business, and then if you want to scale at some point in time, those may have a place. I'm not a huge fan. Don, are you?
No, I never have been. I've always felt like if that's going to be the way that you do your business, then you need to create systems in place to be able to handle that, because when those things come in, you've got to hit them immediately, you've got to hit them quickly, or you've lost them. And it's like, if that's going to be your way of building your business, you need to dedicate almost all of your resources towards that.
Because it doesn't work for everybody. We've got a handful of agents that's what they do, and they're successful at it. So it may be your way. It ends up being a very expensive way to do business, which you don't have to do it that way. And it is it can be cyclical, and it can be not as effective, because you're still working with people that don't know you, don't like you yet, don't trust you yet. So it ends up being a lot more work. All right, website optimization basically comes down to make sure your website is user-friendly, mobile, responsive, and optimized for search engines. And that the HomeSmart website is, but if you're working with a web developer for your own, or points towards your things, you can have people that can do this for you, but just make sure that it isn't an issue. People, the more time they spend on your website, the better, right? So you want to have good content. You want to be able to, and this is all stuff you can do either cheaply or inexpensive or free. It's just a matter of doing your research. Here in our Real Smart Agent, under marketing, under your agent site, you can customize your agent site. It's already optimized, as we're talking about. You can go in there and add a blog to it. You can go in there and add videos to it. You can add, it's very functional, and a lot of agents just don't use them. Yeah, it's almost like if you give something for free or included, you don't take advantage of it. But we have a site. You should take a look at your site, play around with it, and see how you can use that to generate some leads for yourself. Okay. Also, we have under education on Real Smart Agent and on videos on how to edit your website, how to use some of the marketing materials, how to basically grow your business. Under Elevate, both 23, 24, and soon to be 25, each one of those sessions has a training on a different way to generate new business. A lot of it has to do with, once again, having a database and systems in place, but they talk about different unique ideas to grow your business. A few, I think last month we talked about the agent in the East Coast. Dawn, you know her name, but it was the one about the Google,
India.
Yeah, India Hall. That's what it was. Yeah. But all she did was get her Google profile. So it was resonated, had pictures, lots of things, and got a lot of her past clients, current clients, and friends to give her 5-star reviews. And that has generated a ton of business. And that's free. There's no cost to that. So those are the type of things that we're talking about as well. Okay. Social media, like I said, we've had a social media class. We'll have some more, but we all pretty much all of us generally have Facebook or Instagram and LinkedIn. We can showcase our listings, showcase our experience. People want to see that you're visible in what you do. And we've had a lot of classes recently talking about they want to see your personal side too. They want to see you have a little bit of fun. You need a nice balance. It's not all business all the time, but you need to be visible. So when you have success, when you go to a training, when you talk about business, as Donna as I say, you can't be a secret agent. It's almost like I don't want to be ashamed of what I do. No, I'm in real estate business. I'm here to help you out, and here's what I do. So people want to know about what's going on in your business world as well as your personal world. And of course, we talked about this yesterday for those that were there, for those that weren't, in your Real Smart Agent, we have a lot of marketing materials now, especially in the Marketing and Design Center, and they're creating social media content for you to share, to basically customize with your name and logo, and your team name or whatever it is, and then post that on your social media. So they're giving you consumer content now to post. You can also go in and create your own consumer content in the Marketing and Design Center as well. But each month they have new stuff for you to post. So let's copy and paste at that point in time. Getting there. Boop. All right, we talked about paid advertising. One of the things that besides buying leads, this is actually very effective. I have a lot of our agents that do this. You can go in there and search by demographics, by neighborhood, by price range, by home ownership or non-home ownership. It's amazing the different levels or layers of criteria you can do and say, I want to spend $100 from Saturday morning on the 6th of September through Monday morning, afternoon. And you can put a timeline on it, and they'll Facebook and Google or even Instagram will place that ad in front of people that match your criteria. And this is a very effective way, especially if you're offering something for free or some kind of something of value that people want. But this is another way in which, without spending thousands of dollars for leads, you can actually target the people you want to meet. Or, versus, there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. This is a very inexpensive way to get attention and focus on your page. If you want more likes on your video, or if you want more actual like calls to action, like, hey, get a free CMA or get whatever. So it's a really effective way. Okay. All right. Now we talk about blogging. There's video blogging and there's blogging. That's still popular, but this is something you can do with your current website. You can do video marketing and email marketing. There's a lot of programs out there like Constant Contact, MailChimp as well, where you can take your database and set up a monthly, weekly type mailing. There's even content that you could copy and paste. We have as well in Marketing Design Center. You can set up a drip campaign. You can set up an email campaign in there. You can shoot videos, and we saw yesterday you can edit videos as well, send out things by email or by social media. But all of these things, what these do when you do a video, when you do an email, when you post on social media, when you're consistent across these different platforms, and when you blog, talk about experience, well, hey, here's how the tips for buying a house, or the things to look for in an inspection, or whatever it may be, you're establishing credibility. I got a call yesterday from one of our agents. So Don and I both have radio background. I'm still doing radio. Don used to do a radio call-in show for real estate. And we got two agents that are currently doing like Saturday afternoon radio broadcasts, right? Where they pay for time and they're getting leads. Because if you're on the radio or any other medium and you're talking about the profession from a professional standpoint, it adds added credibility. You must be an expert because you're on the radio or whatever. So that's another option for a lot of you to think about. It's like, okay, there's a billion. It's not quite a billion, but there's a lot of different stations that work that way. That the paid advertisers get a time slot for a certain amount per month, and you get to fill the air. If you fill the air with valuable content, there we go, and with a call to action. Don, any comments on that?
No, you're absolutely right. If you're willing to put yourself out there in front of people, you get automatic credibility until you prove that don't know what you're
You can also, yeah, this guy's an idiot. Okay.
but he's gutsy.
Yeah, right. You give him that right there. So it's like, what are you talking about? Saying blogging, we all think about how hard it is. It's not really hard. We're in a business. We oftentimes use analogies. We use acronyms. We talk about things like everybody should know it. They don't. Oftentimes when we talk about CMAs, that they don't know how to get the information and they don't know if it's correct. So we have a lot of tools that we can offer to the public. So even as a newer agent, why do we hold open houses, right? Or what a buyer should do to go to an open house when someone asks them, whatever. You can find stories, but there's also things that are already pre-created for you that you can. I used to buy a pre-done newsletter that you could customize. I would put my own logo, my own name on it, and I would mail them out. And they were great. Had a quiz, had a little, a trivia question every month. It was just, and that was fairly inexpensive. So there's all kinds of ways to save time, but still get in contact, still build credibility, and get in front of people. Obviously, video marketing, everything's video now. I mean, if you can, there's a lot of people that make money and do things. Yeah, ChatGPT, no kidding. And people are using ChatGPT like crazy. I think the more they use it too, the more of a tool it's going to become for everything we do. But a ChatGPT could write you a script, could write you, a sort of a layout for how to shoot a video and who to target. You can do a marketing plan and stuff. You have to edit it in many cases, but it's pretty powerful. But video marketing, I think all too often agents are afraid of getting in front of the camera, but you can show property. You can talk about property tours. You can do an open house. You're providing information about the market, and people are visual in nature. So the more you can do with video, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be consistent and obviously professional as well. But people like personality too. People like seeing things. So, and once again, it's like Don said, it's kind of getting yourself out there a bit. Part of this business is coming out of your shell and engaging with people at every level. So on our Real Smart Agent, this is what we've had for quite a while. When you get a listing, as soon as you input the listing, you have this smart tube. You can click on it, and it will import the pictures from the MLS and create a video for YouTube for your listing, which then you can take and you can post on social media. Look at the property I just listed. Here's the property video for it. That is a nice tool that's been there for a while, but it's an instant way of creating traction and attention and focus of driving leads, not only to your listing, but to you. And look how this cool thing that I did for my client. So in here, under your Real Smart Agent profile, under transactions and listings, you click on the listing and comes over to marketing for that listing. You have your YouTube video, you have a flyer you can create right away, and you can create an individual website for that specific listing. So it comes up as a landing page for the listings. You can send people to that site to find out all about the listing with pictures and so forth. It's all created automatically. This is not even going into the Marketing Design Center. This is the auto generation stuff. If you want to customize it, you can go to the Marketing Design Center and customize it. But this is things as a listing. Look, we got a video for you. We got flyers made for you. And now we've got a website already done for the seller. And it costs you nothing. It's a matter of clicking on those things. Yep, give me person to person, right, Catherine? But if you have something of value when you're in front of people, it's pretty impressive to show them this stuff. And of course, in marketing under your Real Smart Agent, you have smart tools, which of course is your smart app, your video and stuff that we just talked about. Email marketing. So again, staying in contact with your clients. Phone calls are great. In person's the best. Oftentimes when you get a larger database, it's really important, especially as you build your business and you've sold 50 clients and you've got your family members and your church members and whatever, you got a big database. That's where sorting comes in. And Don can talk about this too. I mean, those that are closest, or those that are more likely to buy in a short period of time, you can rank them as well, probably get more attention more often, whether it be a in-person visit, a coffee date, if you will, lunch, or a personal note card. Those that are just in your sphere out there, you have no idea if they're even close to thinking about it. Probably an email. It comes down to where you're sending them something of value or an offer on a regular basis, but all of them should be getting regular communication. Email is one way of doing that, of staying in front of people without overwhelming their inbox, like a monthly email or even a weekly email to some, but it nurtures the leads that you get. Maybe they're not ready when you first talk to them, but they will be. You want to stay in contact and stay in front so they don't forget about you. But even your existing people, a consistent email with information around real estate and around your business and around how you can help them will keep you top of mind when they do think about real estate. And that's the key. You don't want to be forgotten. And it's really easy when we all get busy to forget people. Networking. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. It's really important. Our business, like I said, 70% should be coming from your sphere of influence. I'm probably another, 10% or more should be coming from your network, your referral partners, your networking partners, other agents inside and outside the state, your business partners, your lenders. I know lenders sometimes hate that because they work with multiple agents in some cases, but I've built a relationship with multiple lenders over the years where it was, I get 4 or 5 referrals a month from a lender and vice versa, because you built a level of trust working with somebody. So, and those added to your overall business. So anyway, build relationship with other professionals in the industry, whether it be inspectors, appraisers, mortgage brokers, attorneys, especially like probate attorneys, divorce attorneys. Great place to generate business. Home inspectors. It's amazing because home inspectors can, they'll do inspections for, 100 different agents, right? But they still have clients that aren't attached. And it's like you make the ask. This is one of those things too. I say this story. I used to be at Remax a long time ago. Don was at Remax a long time ago as well. And so we had about 200 agents. At the time, I was a producing agent, not the broker. I think I was number 2 on the board. So I was one of the top agents. And we had a receptionist that worked the front desk, sort of like Crystal does, but she, not as much. She only did, basically she greeted guests and got them coffee. She did a lot less than Crystal does. And a agent from another company came in and asked her if she'd ever thought about buying a house. And she bought a house with an agent from another company, and there's 200 top producing brokers that never asked her. They made the assumption that she would reach out or something because somebody else made the conversation, said, "Hey, you should think about this." I thought that always reminds me, like, never stop asking. You never know. These relationships matter, and they may need to buy or sell a house or buy property. Attend networking events, join local business organizations, whether it be the Rotary or Kiwanis or Realtor associations, or even the rodeo. A lot of you are involved in the rodeo. Encourage satisfied clients to refer their friends and family to you, offering incentives if necessary. That incentives part, be very careful. Don and I, from a compliance standpoint, you can't give referral fees to non-agents. Yeah. You can do small gifts as a thank you for referrals, but you can't promise something for something of those things. So you want to find ways to, But your referral partners, you can say, look, I'll refer people to you as you refer them to me. That's perfectly fine. But be careful on the incentives part. We've had agents get in trouble promising, hey, I'll give you $500 for every referral. You can't do that. It's not allowed. So just want to say that. But oftentimes when a client is happy with you, they want to help you out, especially early in the relationship. They've done studies on this. If you meet a client, you start working with them and you're going, whether making an offer on a property, that first few weeks you're working together, there's like an 80% chance that they'll send you to somebody else, refer you to somebody else if you ask. And as later in the transaction, as more problems exist before closing, that drops dramatically. There's still an opportunity, but the odds drop because it's more real, right? And I heard something the other day, Don. This was good. It was, is there anybody you can introduce me to, versus refer me to? And it's a lot easier tone. Like, I get a lot of people I can introduce you to, and then it's not on me to say, Well, I want you to use Don as my realtor, as your realtor, right? It's like, hey, I want you to be a really great guy who's a real estate agent named Don Leonard, right? A lot easier for them to do on your behalf. So something, a little trick, little little tip there, if you will.
Yeah.
All right. So offering resources. People want value. People don't want to be bugged. Obviously, they want to know you want to share that what you do. You want to share that you love for it and that you're good, how you advocate for your clients. But what can you offer for them? It's the biggest radio call letters in history, the WIFM. What's in it for me? So the bottom line is you offer free consultations. You're the expert. You are the expert in commercial, or expert in residential, or expert in selling homes or buying homes or in a certain area. And you say, hey, look, I'm free consultation. Talk about your plans. Talk about your goals. I can give you direction. I can help you plan out your future and when you want to be. I can connect you with industry professionals to get you pre-approved. Basically a no, obligation type thing. Until we, then of course you talk about the buyer tenant rep at that point in time. You talk about the future and what you have to do before you show a property. You can do educational workshops. You think that sounds very laborious, but we have a lot of agents that do this. I think one of our top agents does a tax seminar. She gets an accountant to come in and talk about it. She gets a lawyer to come in and talk. She comes in and talks, and it doesn't cost more than renting a room and sending out invites. And she gets the room, 100 people, a month or whatever it is. And she'll get 4, 5, 6 transactions out of that every single month because they're thinking about investing. They're thinking about their taxes. And then, of course, the appropriate way to invest and save money or protect your tax dollars is oftentimes in real estate. And so there's a natural tie in there. So something to think about when you're looking to generate that type of your targeted market. It may be an educational workshop, partnering with a lender, partnering with a title or someone like that to do that. People are hungry for information. If you provide valuable information, they'll come. And then as you're the resource, you have established credibility, then they want to work with you. Don gets asked all the time from people in his class because he as a teacher comes across as very credible, which he is. But now they want to work with him. They want to buy or sell with him. This type of thing is because you have that credibility. And free resources. So if you have something you can give to them that they want, oftentimes you get their information. You can follow up with them and start that process of warming the lead, if you will, building that relationship until the point where they trust you and want to work with you. So on that note, HomeSmart has provided a bunch of that too in a second. So one of the things we could do is free consultations like home buying, home selling, home valuation like a CMA, or first-time home buyers. Hey, first-time home buyers, there's always first-time home buyer classes. Oftentimes you can talk to a builder who will allow you to use a model home and hold a first-time home buyer class. They want to come see the property anyway, but you can talk about what they have to expect when they're getting ready to buy their first-time home. Oftentimes partnering with the lender is a great way of generating business. I used to do a bunch of these with my agents, and they're successful because people go, okay, it's kind of a seminar type thing. We usually, get a dozen or so people in there that are serious about looking to buy. It's a great way to do it. Educational workshops, first-time home buyers, investment property, market analysis, financing options. I have a friend of mine that worked back in Washington. He worked specifically with Microsoft engineers. He targeted single ones that made a large income that needed to be sheltered from tax. They got a CPA in there, a life insurance agent, and a real estate agent. And he would do these seminars on basically how to shelter their money, how to use the money that they're not using and grow it long-term tax-free. It was brilliant. So again, he had a focused target market, had a vehicle to draw them in these seminars, and then they would follow up, and they all got business out of it. So pretty fantastic. Free resources. You can offer a first-time homebuyer's guide. Hey, here's all the terms that you may hear. Here's what they mean. Or a home buyer property checklist, or a seller's open house checklist. So and these are great things. And the reason those are mentioned is those are in your Real Smart Agent downloads already available for you. So if you offer them for free on social media, you can print them and provide them or send them by PDF right away because they're already done for you. So you have the first-time homebuyer guides, your real estate acronyms. You can do a real estate plan checklist, home buyer property checklist, and so many more that are under your education, under downloads in your Real Smart Agent platform. And so, again, trying to give you the tools to generate your leads, and your job is to make sure that you make the offer and then provide the tools, or provide the free gifts, if you will. All right. Now, I said before, you have to inspect what you expect. So you have to monitor your performance of your efforts using tools. And there's lots of free tools, and we have some tools as well. Track key metrics like conversion rate, like click rate. You have to say, how much money am I spending? How much money did I make? And I think the last thing I heard was, if it's not 10 to 1, it's probably not worth doing it. And maybe even 100 to 1, right? But if you spend $1,000, if you don't make 10,000 on it, that's kind of probably not working as well. You want to measure that, but because you're tracking closings. But continually track and analyze results to refine your strategy. It's like setting goals and not looking at your goals you set all year long and expecting things to change. You have to continue to look at what your target is, how well is it working, and then adjust accordingly. I have Mr. Bill yawning at me. I better hurry up. Conversion rates, lead quality, website traffic, social media engagement. This is one of those things too that oftentimes when the agents go to these paid lead systems, what we typically hear is that leads are bad, right? Well, no, they're people that fill that information and they were catered to you for a reason. It's just a matter of, okay, did you follow up? Did you keep on following up? There's a numbers game for every type of thing where you're not dealing with people that you know, like, and trust, your sphere of influence, if you will, your database. There's a small percentage of conversion. You can increase that by being professional, being on time, and doing all kinds of stuff. But the general number for like a mailing to the neighborhood, right? A farm to the neighborhood, for every 100, it's like 2% return. So you may get 2 calls or 2 leads out of 100, and oftentimes much of advertising is that way. So you have to be able to measure it. Any thoughts on that, Don?
Absolutely. I know that's why there's so many different ways of staying in contact, is that no one deal, no one way is probably going to be enough. You've got to mix it up and do a lot of different things in order to get really what you want. Every once in a while, you may stumble on something that works extremely well for a little while, and then for whatever reason may not be as well. You've just constantly got to be watching it and see what's working and what's not.
And what's interesting too, even this from a real estate perspective, we can tell oftentimes how many times a ad is clicked on, how many times in the MLS someone's looked at the property. We can give that data, tracking that to the seller, and say, hey, look, we've got 1,000 clicks on the property, we've got whatever, but we've got no showings. Okay, so it means it looks good enough online, so we're in the ballpark, but there's a reason why they're not coming to see the property. Okay, or we can say we got lots of activity online and we have lots of showings, but no offers. The feedback is it's that ugly yellow wall or whatever it may be. Let's address that issues. But you're tracking the metrics along the way and reporting back and then making adjustments. Same thing here. I will say this too. I had a pastor friend of mine years ago that preached the same message 3 Sundays in a row, but he would tweak it. But it was basically the same topic, and he would reword it. He said, because you get about 1/3 of your audience every Sunday, so over 3 Sundays, everybody hears the message finally. And I go, okay, but it's that consistency, right? Because he wants to get something delivered. So, and of course, the people there, they don't know, but it's like, oh, smart, okay. There was a study done a while back, and I'm talking about analytical stuff here in a second. They tracked, it was Wells Fargo back in the day. They tracked 150,000 buyers from when they thought they were starting the process of getting pre-qualified and looking for homes and talking to agents to after they've closed on a property. And back then, on average, there was 2 things. On average, they talked to 17 different real estate agents before they actually bought. So think about that, right? Where are you? Well, if you were number 15 or 16 and they bought with somebody else, right? That's crazy. But on average, they had to hear or see something on it from an advertising perspective more than 7 times before it actually clicked. So a lot of your stuff has to be consistent and ongoing and over. So one email is not enough. You got to keep on sending emails every month. If you're doing ads, you got to be consistent. Do it for a year. I mean, the idea is they got to see it a number of times, like the pastor. They got to hear it a number of times before it actually clicks with the group. So keep that in mind. There's no one shot and you're done for anything when it comes to marketing or generating leads. Even a great video may go viral, but it has a shelf life. So CRMs, we talked about your customer relationship management system. It's your database. I used to, back in the day, I worked off a Excel spreadsheet. Bottom line is you need something that reminds you to sort your database, to set up an automatic drip system, different ways to follow up certain groups you may do. And I'm this 50 people I'm calling every month. This 100 people I'm emailing every month. The group, they're all getting something in the mail. Or these 10 that I know are hot are going to get a pop by. I mean, I'm going to swing by with a small gift. So you got to CRM helps you keep organized. System. That's how you grow any business and maintain it over time, is a system. Email marketing platforms, again, we can use our own, but again, Constant Contact, MailChimp, and many others are great ways to set up and use your database and then set things and not forget them. But you have a tracking. You can tell who opened it on those, if it bounced or whatever it may be. And of course, Google ads, Facebook ads, and so forth. Check into them. You can do a very small. You can do $10 and just see what kind of response you get with a small amount of money, testing different markets and different messages. It's a very inexpensive way to drive attention to your offer. Obviously, if you want to, on a regular basis, I would probably say every month, you're looking at your metrics. What am I doing? What are my results? What else? How can I tweak it, or should I leave it alone, and so forth? Same thing with your listings. I recommend every 2 weeks, but it could be every month where you're saying, all right, what's our metrics? How are we doing? How should we adjust and keep it going from there? So lead generation basically comes down to getting your face out there, whether it be networking, whether it be doing ads, whether it be doing open houses, as Don's going to teach on here shortly. But it's about adding them into your database so that you can nurture relationship, so that you can be there when they need your help. Now, a lot of the tools already provided for you. I would recommend you start using them, by offering a free CMA or offering a buyer tool or offering a seller tool, and see what kind of response you get. You can do it by email. You can do it by, you can do a big billboard if you wanted to, but you could do it a Facebook post and be just fine. So, Donnie, anything thoughts on this?
There's just so much there. I mean, there's so many different ways of staying in contact now. Technology is such a wonderful thing. When you and I think about some of the stuff that we had to do the way we used to have to do it. I was looking at some old flyers this morning, and I created those years ago on Microsoft Word. And, having to pull in text box and pull in this text box here and pull in this information here. And now it's there for you and ready to go. I mean, just taking advantage of the stuff that's available just creates that credibility like we were talking about. You don't even really have to have a lot of input, just load the stuff up and there it goes. I mean, it's amazing.
As Don and I are dating ourselves as far as the business goes, I remember even early on, we'd create a flyer on a color copier, print it off with the tear off tabs at the bottom with our phone number on it, put it on a post like in the community, and they see the flyer and they pull off your phone number and call you, and they work. Now there's probably more graffiti than anything, but there are opportunities. The biggest thing is just developing a system, adding one thing at a time, measuring to see how it works and see if you want to do it full time, and then adding on other things. Some agents try to do everything at once, and that's a recipe for disaster. But it's the first thing is developing, writing down the contact information of everybody you come in contact with, and then with a goal of adding people to it daily if you can. You come in contact with somebody at the store. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. Would you be interested in receiving valuable information about the market, a checklist or whatever it is? If you do, give me your information or whatever. There's great ways to do that, and then you start warming those leads up. You can do the Facebook ads and so forth, but use the tools we have in the Marketing Design Center and on your social media as well. I think you're going to start generating more business. But as we talked about yesterday as well, it's about being visible, and to the receptionist there, ask the questions. You never know. You never know who they are and what they're looking for, when they're ready. And we had a call yesterday from an agent saying, my clients, they want to buy in a year. I go, they're not going to buy in 6 months. If they can tell you they want to buy in a year, they're probably looking already. They're putting something together, whatever it may be. Stay in contact, stay in front of them, and because it won't be a year. Because if you call them a year from now, they're going to be in a house that they bought with somebody else. That's what happens.
Yep.
Anything else? Any questions from you guys? Okay. Well, happy Friday. And I'll stop recording, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And Don's, like I said, has got this how to try